Hey Tiger fans, Mark Fitzpatrick from Tiger Club of Kansas City. It's Tuesday, February 18th. Our guest speaker today at the Westport Flea Market, Peter Baugh, who covers the Tigers for The Athletic, concentrating on Tiger football. Peter, welcome to Kansas City.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So it's been an interesting offseason, obviously. You wrote a very interesting piece on Coach Drinkwitz about his background, how he came to be. Tell us all what went into that story.
Yeah, so I started by doing a lot of phone calls and just talking to people, coaches he knew in Arkansas and people he's been around. From there, I just I went to Arkansas. He helped me out by giving me a few people to reach out to once I got there. And I set up some interviews ahead of time and went down for 2 or 3 days and just reported a lot. Went to a lot of places, tried to go to, I went to his childhood house, which they don't own it anymore, but I went outside it and stuff like that. And I went to just different areas around Alma, Arkansas, which was really fun. And I stopped by the high school he used to work at. And from there, just talked to more people. Eventually, I got an interview set up with Coach Drinkwitz, where we talked through a lot of the facts that I found. I talked to his parents, his mom, not his dad, and yeah, just kind of continued to report until we got the story where we wanted it.
Well, it's a great piece.
Thank you.
One thing, when the coaches come in now new, they really only have 1 week to recruit in December with the earlier signing date. Coach Drinkwitz held on to a good chunk of his recruiting class, but he also made an impact here in the spring just a couple weeks ago with the late signing day. Mm-hmm. Your assessment of the recruiting class.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because there were some things working against him. Just the fact that when you have a new coach, it's difficult to you're struggling because you have like Barry Odom's recruits. Some of them are like, I'm going to decommit which is fair. Like they committed to a different coach. And then you've also, so he was dealing with that and like trying to hang on to some recruits, but then also they were dealing with NCAA restrictions that limited the amount of scholarships they had because of the academic fraud case from a few years ago, which those restrictions are only for 1 year, but they'll only be able to have 81 scholarships, meaning their class was smaller. So all things considered, I think with what they had, I think they did a decent job. They got a really good graduate transfer receiver in Damon Hazelton, who can step in and be a top receiver. They beat Alabama and Texas for a recruit out of Texas, which rarely Mizzou. Anytime Mizzou can beat out those schools for a recruit is a win. So that was certainly like a big thing, and I think overall he did what he could. It's not going to stand out in the rankings, but rarely after coaching changes is your recruiting class going to be really high.
Really difficult.
So
we'll be starting spring practice here in just a few weeks. Of course, new quarterback. How do you assess that position for the Tigers this year?
Yeah, I think that there's 3 guys who I realistically could see getting a good amount of playing time next year, and Sean Robinson, transfer from TCU, Connor Bazelak, who played in 3 games as a true freshman, tore his ACL against Arkansas. Right. So he'll be a redshirt freshman because he played in fewer than 5 games. And then Taylor Powell, who will be a redshirt junior and has been the backup the past 2 seasons. Right now, I'd give the edge to Sean Robinson, but we haven't seen how spring practice goes. Bazelak will obviously be limited. But Robinson, I think he's healthy, and he hadn't been healthy until this year. So I think that it'll be interesting to see. Like at TCU, he was banged up the first year he didn't play too much. The second year he was banged up. So it'll be interesting to see how he does now that he's healthy.
Okay, you've been with The Athletic for about 9 months, but you covered Mizzou for 4 years while you were an undergrad. Tell us your progression, and tell us a little about The Athletic for our viewers who may not know much about it.
So I started at the student newspaper, the Man-Eater, and I was covering Mizzou swimming. I love talking about swimming. Like Mizzou swimming I know a lot about, which is kind of a bit of a...
You cover Mitchell Forty? Or
yeah.
He was here last week.
Yeah, he's a great guy. We're buddies. But so that's kind of my like niche sports interest, and I've gotten to know Forty since he's been off the team and now he's working in the media more. Yeah. Then my sophomore year I covered football for the Man-Eater. Junior year I moved over to the Missourian, which is the community paper, and did that whole football season for the Missourian. And then went to that summer I interned with the Post-Dispatch, mostly doing Cardinals baseball, but I did a little bit of, I helped out with some, mostly like Mizzou baseball players going to the draft, like did a little bit of Mizzou stuff. And then senior year I did stuff for the Kansas City Star, and then went to The Athletic this past summer. And a bit about The Athletic is that I think it's about 4 years old, and it's a fast-growing, like sports media outlet that kind of focuses more on in-depth stories that kind of go beyond the surface level. And it's kind of just it's a really good outlet if you're interested in random sports teams. Like, you can subscribe to like Mizzou. Say you're a Mizzou football fan, you can subscribe to Mizzou football. But say you came to Mizzou from Seattle, you can subscribe to the Seahawks writer, and it's all under the same, like, you don't have to pay extra per team. It's just like if you buy a subscription, you have access to all of it, which is really, really nice. I know I was a subscriber before I joined, and it's some of the best content out there because we have just really talented writers and editors all across the country.
Okay, well, I am a subscriber too, and I know my endorsement will greatly increase your
Thank you.
readership. Peter Baugh from The Athletic, he's doing a great job. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.
On Twitter at Peter_Baugh,
yes.
Baugh, and check out The Athletic for great information about Mizzou and all the other sports. Hey, folks, Friday here at the Flea Market, that's February 21st, Coach Eliah Drinkwitz makes his first appearance in Kansas City. We'll have a reception here starting at 4:30. Make sure you join us here at the Westport Flea Market. And our speaker next Tuesday will be Blair Kirchhoff of the Kansas City Star. For more information about the club, check us out at kctigerclub.com.